Hey, welcome to TokuTalkers. Sorry we're a couple weeks late with the episode 8 one, but as a bonus, we'll also talk about episode 9, and kind of a good thing. We kind of, because these are basically interconnected. Hi, I'm Buster. My co-host Wyatt's here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about the GoZyuger two-parter, episode 8, Between Right and Wrong, The Ring Hunter, and episode 9, Unbreakable Wolf. What did you
Mm.
think about this very exciting two-parter, Wyatt?
These were great episodes. I think the previous episode that we talked about was
Episode 7?
probably was one of my favorites. Maybe my number one favorite for sheer entertainment value and just like it felt like all it did everything good that GoZyuger does. These two maybe are the best episodes we've seen just from like a storytelling and tone like standpoint, just like conveying information and like conveying characters and everything, like keeping you engaged. Uh these were just incredibly good. It's like what else could you want from like a two-parter like this? I guess the only thing that it doesn't have is like Monster of the Week shenanigans, but I think that it's a good thing that they just
Yeah.
solely focused on Garudo as the like main threat.
And
So
even then, like episode 9 kind of picks up on the competition slack, but we'll get to that
yeah.
in a bit. But yeah,
Mhm.
the main
Mhm.
driving force of this two-parter is the introduction of Kuan, Koru's brother, aka
Mhm.
the Ring
Mhm.
Hunter Garudo. And
Mhm.
he makes quite the debut as basically the overachieving older brother,
Mhm.
uh, and also an AI CEO. I think that's just like
Yeah,
a like a
so
slight part of what he
that's
does.
yeah, they're like, we know how to make him as evil as possible. Let's make him the CEO of an AI company.
Yeah. Like I saw some people like I before I watched the episode, I saw people like tweeting about that or skiing, whatever we call the Bluesky post, out of
Yeah, it's fine.
context. Like,
Mhm.
and it was just like what? It was like he's a C, and it's like I watched the episode, and it's just like a small part of what he does as basically like I guess like that shows like how evil he is. He just like he's
Yeah,
just, like he's, like AI is
it's
just a
funny because
small
in
part of his
episode
schemes.
yeah, like is I believe episode 9, it might be episode 8. I can't remember. I just watched them back to back. But when he goes and meets the other, I think it's episode 9. When he
It's
goes and
episode
meets the
9.
other Gozugers, they're like, "Oh my god, it's the CEO. It's Kuan, the CEO of this tech company." And you think it's going to be like a bigger thing, or maybe he's going to like employ some subterfuge. But this dude is kind of he's not 100% right in the head, so he kind of
Yeah.
gives the ghost, so to speak, almost immediately, and which is I think fine. I think that like they didn't need to like stretch it out or anything over the course of multiple episodes or whatever. They could just kind of like get right down to business and get everybody on the same page, especially if they wanted to wrap up this arc with Hoiru within 2 episodes. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a smart
Yeah.
move. But we talked a little bit about Garudo and how cool he was last time.
Yeah.
Well, we actually get to see him really in action. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I thought it was like his like it's mostly like okay, so like everyone else has blade weapons, he has a gun weapon, which
Mm,
yeah,
mm,
okay, that's simple. Like, but it's also like he uses like he has the kind of Stay Caesar from Zenkaiger thing of like he can
mm,
summon like the other rings that he has. Like basically, we see him like in these episodes use Denji Man, Geki Ranger,
mm,
Jaka, Gosei Red, and an Ninja. Which is very interesting. Actually,
mm,
I like me and my friends. We were watching episode 8, and we were joking like, "Oh, those are the two dogshit Power Ranger seasons." Like, Mega Force and Ninja Steel. But like anyway, um, and I find it interesting how like they basically like he can also just like turn them off like either as and just use their primary weapon. Like that's a fun fighting
mm,
style. And like he even gives like other like he sacrifices Denji in episode 9. He sacrifices the Denji Man to give the Geki Ranger the Denji Man gloves, which I thought is
yeah,
really that's a cool crossover way of like using
yeah,
your
it's really
power.
cool.
Um,
Yeah, and then him like turning the Jacka Red
it's
Ranger
just
into all the
cards.
cards, like Luxord, just like surrounding himself
Yeah.
with cards.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts. Yeah. Um. Oh, excuse me. There's something, yeah, and like yeah, his general fighting style is like pretty typical like rival rival and what you kind
mm-hmm.
of expect for this kind of thing. But like he's still cool, and I kind of like his suit design stuff throws me off a bit. Like it's cool,
Okay.
but it just like I'm just so used to like the like other rivals, like even Stay Caesar kind of fits with the kind of design philosophy, or
That's
like
true.
Don
He does look.
Murasame.
Yeah, he
Like
does
he,
kind of look like he like if you're looking at it, it's like okay, this doesn't look completely different from the GoZyugers, but it doesn't look as obviously like them as like you said, like Don Murasame is just like a purple Don Momotaro, with
yeah,
the shirt
like
theming.
yeah. And like that just throws me off a little bit, but I get that's kind of the point, So
Mm-hmm.
especially when they
Mm-hmm.
use like a similar kind of like mold for their changer, so
Yeah,
um,
it definitely got big. Like, I agree with you. I think all that stuff is really cool with the way that he fights. I got some light Kamen Rider Bake vibes, recently from Gav with like
yeah,
the guy just kind of like casually kicking the crap out of people with a gun and everything
yeah,
like that was pretty good. Not quite as much sauce as Bake had in
and like
Gav,
his
but
two
that's
episodes,
yeah, but that's the magic of Gav is that the even the like most mundane fight scenes are completely sauced the hell out.
yeah.
But like these ones are still good. Not saying it, but
Oh yeah, yeah. Like especially episode 9 has some really saucy fight scenes.
yes. I think my favorite little thread in these two stories is the stuff with Fire Candle.
Oh
Um,
yeah, like the fire
like I
candle
think
stuff, especially in episode 9, just like hits real good. Like I love
yeah.
like them like kind of breaking apart and reestablishing the rivalry of Horno, where it's
Hmm.
like, and I guess we haven't really talked about Horno's arc, because that kind of ties into Fire
Hmm.
Candle. We should like because we're basically
Yeah,
his
talk about
brother
that.
comes back and he basically just shit talks him so much. It's like
Hmm.
you suck. Like it just
Yeah,
kind
just
of
negging him, gaslighting him, doing all this like manipulation kind of tactics to like get him under his heel, which is like pretty nasty for a rival character like this. You kind of always expect them to be, maybe a little bit cold and distant, but deep down they like really care about their brother and they're just doing everything to like protect them or whatever. This kind of reminded me more of in Q Ranger with Scorpio and Stinger, where like by the end it's maybe implied that Scorpio isn't an evil monster and actually cares about his brother, but for the most part, every single like light of flicker of hope you had for them to mend their relationship is like snuffed out, and he just keeps on proving he's like a
yeah.
terrible person. uh but this like it's almost immediately he gets into the emotional manipulation and the gaslighting and everything like that, so it's like it really makes you hate this guy and really makes him like a worthy foe right off the bat, so
Yeah, really leading into the hater energy of the
mhm,
character. Uh, and I also just like also the like I okay, I'll be real. Episode 8, I didn't love at first. It really needed to be.
mhm.
Episode 9 really took me like the to really come around to this arc.
Okay,
I don't know if it's because of like the environment I watched episode 8 in, or if it's just in
sure.
general like how because like I just thought I was like okay, this is a fine episode and all, but like where like I kind of was missing the competition, kind of missing the structure of the last few
Sure,
episodes,
yeah,
like.
yeah,
And then episode 9 is like, okay, here's the competition, and here we're actually going to expand. Again, it's a two-parter. There's a reason I decided to wait for not just
yeah.
because we were
Hmm.
busy, but because we
Yeah,
just in general was like, okay, I
like
need
it
to see
just
where this
worked
goes.
really well.
Uh,
Yeah, I watched them both just now, and both one into another. So I guess I had a little bit of a more measured perspective where I was like, okay, I know that if nothing gets wrapped up or this episode seems like very story heavy, like episode 8 was a lot of talking and a lot of like story. It wasn't really a lot of like action or anything, which I'm fine with. But it definitely like felt very different from the previous GoZyuger episodes.
yeah,
And like ends on kind of like an anticlimax intentionally, and then episode 9, but knowing that episode 9 was like coming up next, I was like, okay, this will be like the big climax to this little storyline. Um, and yeah, like I said, I think that episode 9 definitely delivered, and the stuff where they're at the like the rude handsome butler
that
The
was
fancy
really
restaurant like is really good, and the competition again. It doesn't even need to be like in the context of searching for a ring or doing whatever. Like even just like any kind of competition like they had there between Fire Candle and Hoiru was just really good. It was very funny. It was also very informative of their characters. And then
Yeah.
that scene afterward where they're talking, at this point Fire Candle still doesn't know that this guy that he's working with is the guy that he's having a crash out over. um and it's just like such a good scene. It gave me like we're gonna go and do the Don Brothers comparisons again, but it gave me like a good taste of that old Sonoi and Momoritaro rivalry. They're different. These two are very different characters from those two, but that same energy of like these two people that like are destined to fight, but also really respect each other and really want the best out of each other and everything, and they can have this like very strange friendship that kind of forms, or
Yeah. Nah, I get what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
just like because Fire Kettle was always entertaining, but it's nice to get like a bit deeper into his character, like
yeah. He
why.
wasn't a super deep character, and he's
Yeah,
like none of them have been so far. They've been very entertaining. They've had a lot of potential. So
yeah,
this
like
feels
this
like
is
the
like
first time they really
capitalizing on
seized.
that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and what else? I didn't really like the new mecha they kind of introduced. It's just a bit like it's like I don't mind like the arm, like just the arm being like okay, like okay, so they have a new weapon for Horino in this
Mhm.
episode,
Which
and
which
as
is cool.
yeah, it's a
Like,
nice sword. It has like it can do portal shit, and
mhm.
and it combines with the Tega sword to form a new mecha, and it's kind of like I get where they're going for. It's supposed to be very wolf-like, but I think the little strap, the little is a bit much. I don't know, like the headpiece kind of throws me off. Like
Yeah, I felt like it was interesting that the base Tega sword looked already like, like, oh, it's the Goju Wolf one, and then the other ones are like combining their armor on top of it to turn it into like excuse me, to the Goju Eagle and things like
yeah,
that. And then this is like, okay, now that he has his own weapon, he has to put the armor on, and then it just like looks wrong because it was already like golden with the red as a secondary color. So now it just is like too red. It's just like too much, like
yeah,
there's just like too much going on. The robot, like the sword is cool. Don't get me wrong, the fight scene and everything with him fighting the other like red rangers and then fighting his brother was very cool with that. And it like
yeah.
makes sense
I
that
will give the
the
mecha fight this. It did have better. I thought it was better implemented than previous attempts
mm,
because it's like okay, it's like concluding the fire candle
yeah,
little
yeah. The
arc.
fight itself was good. It's just that the
Yeah,
robot, I'm not crazy
yeah,
about the new form that it got. So,
yeah.
but
It
him punching
happens.
the fire candler through the chest
Usually
was
with
really cool.
Sentai mechs, I find they get worse over time, or like
Yeah,
it's a very like I'm gonna be blunt about it. Like the base mech
there's.
is usually the better one.
I literally cannot think of a single time where like the ultimate combined form of a mecha was like this is better than the
Yeah, like
original.
most would be like that's nice, but like I still prefer the base one. Like
Yeah. The only thing that I can kind of think of it is an example of like I may like this more than the original is stuff like Car Ranger or Mega Ranger, where they get like an entirely different robot for their
yeah,
like towards the end of the series, and then that's just up to taste, like whether you like one over the other. It doesn't like complicate the previous mecha's design and like add a bunch of crap onto it. But then you get stuff like I always think of Engino with its 12-piece combination and how like much of a ridiculous like clusterfuck that
yeah.
was, and like Samurai Hao and Shinkenger. So
I mean,
you
I'll
know,
give Samurai Haho a pass just because it's supposed to be a giant chair. Like half of it's supposed to be a giant
yeah,
chair.
yeah.
That's I thought that was one of the better ultimate combinations, but like yeah, and yeah, but it happens with Sentai Max. It is what it is. Yeah, but it's nice
Mm.
to just have the like. Even so, like you can have a bit more functionality if you're Tekka Sword and like the new
Mm.
Deca Claw Caliber and a Wolf Duck Caliber
Yeah.
to 50. Just checking the names real quick. But yeah, these are a solid two-parter, I'd say.
Yeah,
Apparently this
for
ends
sure.
round 1, like the arc, even though I thought the first arc ended with episode 6, but like okay.
Yeah, I think because this felt like the start of something new,
Yeah.
so it was very much like I was like, I don't know, there was, but then this also felt like the end of something. Like it felt like a big climax. And I'm like, okay, I can see this being like the end, even though like Garudo only showed up in the previous episode, and then you
Our
know,
classification for Sentai is weird.
yeah, in general for Kamen Rider, it can be kind of weird because, uh, you know, or for Tokusatsu, I was thinking of like Gav, where it's like, okay, the second arc is all the stuff with Bitter Gav and all that, and then they released like another different like arc poster just for the frappe and bake and everything, but that was like 2 episodes, and then they released the new like thing with like
Final
the
Form
ultimate
poster,
form
yeah.
and the president and all that, all the shenanigans
I mean,
going
like,
on
granted, it's
there.
all like it's all like 150 episode show maximum, so it's like
Yeah,
why
of
even
course.
bother? Like it's mostly just like this new thing is coming or just whatever.
Yeah, I feel like it worked really well with King Oger because it literally was like
Split in
2 very
half.
distinct arcs
Yeah.
that were split. Even something like Boom Boom Jira, it was just like, okay, yeah, the story is changing or whatever, like new elements are being introduced, but it's still like continuously the same story that's
Yeah.
happening. Like it's not wildly changing. So, but yeah, that's just a minor nitpick. Otherwise, I agree. I think that these are really good
Mm-hmm.
episodes. Maybe not overall my favorite, just because
Episode
they
7
were
was just too
lacking.
entertaining.
Yes, exactly. They're lacking some elements from the previous episode that I really enjoyed, but they were very high quality. It was engaging. The drama, the character drama was all
Yeah, I
there.
also like there's a part in episode 8 that really stood out to me where it's like Goju Eagle and like Goju Wolf, kind of like I forgot their real
Mhm.
names, but like those two interacting,
Yeah.
or it's like especially when like Eagle could like in the team confronts Goju Wolf about his like betrayal, like where Goju
Mhm.
Eagle is like, "Man, I'm sorry I have to do this," because like he's like the older member, like he
Mhm.
empathizes
Mhm.
with the it just that
It
love that
hits.
a lot.
But all right. I
Yeah,
think
I
that'll
think
do
that's
it.
about all we have to say about these episodes. So Wyatt, plug your stuff.
All right, go on over to if you want to check me out on social media, Wasp Ranger, WACP Ranger on Twitter and Bluesky. It's mostly stream of consciousness stuff, but I do post about podcasts I'm in or videos I'm making. I made a bunch of new videos recently, actually.
Yeah,
So
go watch
check
them.
out, yeah, go on my YouTube channel. It's Only Magic. Just did a video on the Control Delete the animated series, so go check that one out. Before that, I did a video on the Disney show Primos, which became wildly popular. I have no idea why that video popped off the way that it did, but I'm glad. I put a lot of effort into it. And if you want to support me on Patreon and want to check out Cartoon Buffoons, which is a podcast to do with my friend Morgan, go there. $3, you get the episodes a week early. If you only got $1, that's fine. You still get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence and reviewing them. 5 to 10 minute episodes. We've done a lot of Sentai stuff, so go check that out. But that will do it for me. How about you?
Okay, hey, I'm Buster Corp. You can check out my channel, like at the Buster Corp channel. I recently put out like a 20-minute video about Metal Sonic. I don't normally will do
Cool.
20-minute videos, but like that's cool. I did a 20-minute video compared to my usual 5-minute shebang
Mm-hmm.
ring-a-dings.
Mm-hmm.
So, but hey, I do a lot of Sentai stuff too on my channel. And hey, make sure to subscribe to this podcast channel on Modular Media.
Mm-hmm.
We have some very exciting stuff. We got an Analytical Fanboys on the Midnight Gospel, the Netflix cartoon by Pendleton Ward, coming up. We got
Mm-hmm.
very special components coming up, and just more fun little podcasts like TokuTalkers and the Modular Components and Analytical Fanboys. So yeah, make sure to check out all of those links, and we'll see you next week for episode 10 of GoZyuger.
Peace.